and sit down.
Welcome to the ChampCar iRacing series. It's round 10 from Road America. This is the iRacing series that's giving away real racing credit to put sim racers in the driver's seat. We get all kinds joining us here in the ChampCar iRacing series, both sim racers that want to go real racing, ChampCar racers that want to just get wheel to wheel, keep their skills sharp and practice with some of their fellow racers. Of course, we get a good healthy dose of drivers from some other championships that come across and race with us here as well. It's the Ford Mustangs at Road America for this round with the bend chicane, as is ChampCar typical, but David Haynes here with Devin Peters and Michael Derby. Devin, it's a very, very exciting track. People love this place and people like this car.
Yeah, I'd say that this is the best car that we race in the ChampCar iRacing series, and I bet you about half the grid would agree with me. These Mustangs are really a good time, and they challenge you. They challenge you on the gas, they challenge you under the brakes, and they challenge you the whole way through the corners. So I'm expecting that we'll see our best driver win today. Not our most consistent, not maybe our fastest, but the best all-rounder will be what it takes to win today.
So far this season, Joshua Soto has been looking good for the outright championship and the race credits for the ChampCar iRacing series that go with that. A grand prize of $1,500 of racing credit, but there's also lots of other prizes we're giving away. There's still a enduro round to come up later in the year. Forum.champcar.org. Look at the schedule, get your teammates together. In one race, you can win a good chunk of credits to get yourself or your teammates or your friends on track in the ChampCar Endurance Series. And then also in these last 4 races of the 12-round, 1-hour races that we're in here for the participation, we'll be drawing a name who will also get themselves a very, very nice, valuable little prize. It's qualifying that's underway right now, and this is a 1-hour race coming up. Will be a mandatory pit stop within the pit stop window. And qualifying, we've got a good number of Mustangs out there at the moment. Looks like 26, and all of them, well, not all of them, a couple of them seem to be between turn 3 and turn 5 at the moment.
Yeah, they're definitely a little crowded out there, but they're all looking for a little bit of pace. And with these big boxy Mustangs, a little bit of draft doesn't hurt anything. See Josh Soto experimenting with a line that I would say is not going to improve his fastest lap, and he dives off to the left, showing us that that's the case. But all of them, I think, are looking for that last little bit of pace and that last little bit of draft that's going to get them over the top. 2:34.1, in case you're wondering, is what it's going to take to put you on pole today. And we're watching Simon Foweather going into that beautiful carousel turn with a absolutely banned livery. Is this legal? I don't think we can show this.
I think our disclaimer is smoking is known to cause cancer in all states, not just California.
Yeah, and provinces too, probably. But no, it's beautiful. He's heading down into Canada Corner, and you'll have noticed that he's taken the bend today, because this isn't just any Road America layout. This is the ChampCar Road America layout, and so we run the bend, and we have a really good time doing it. And if you come to a ChampCar race, or if you watch a ChampCar race on iRacing like you are today, there's a good chance you get to see some people experimenting with all kinds of off-road lines through there. Haynes does not want to laugh at my jokes today, so we'll just keep teeing him off and let him keep missing him. We're watching.
Sorry, I had two
looks
things.
like it's cool. Looks like Sean Saputra's leading a love train through Canada Corner. So we got a couple of love cars heading through there. That's Nick Love and Sean Saputra, 2 teammates. One of the great things about the ChampCar iRacing series is just that chance to connect with guys that are racing real cars. So if you're imagining a world where you get on track one day, it's nice to be able to come out and meet some folks.
And a clear indication that this is a team that haven't updated their paint in about 12 months. But no stress to them. They crossed the line, trying to work together for some of that slipstream, and I think they also crossed the line that'll give them one more lap here, because we're rapidly getting towards the end of this qualifying session.
Yeah. It's a last couple of seconds here, and I can't seem to recall if we're going to see them all disappear off the track, or are we going to let them finish? We're going to let them finish here on the final lap, it looks like, sure enough. So we'll see. We'll let them bring you to the line.
And I'll look to try to see who's going quickly at the moment. Obviously, the Love Racing teammates are closed up, and there's the maneuver. Let them through at turn 5 and see if we can negotiate the rest of the lap cleanly. You've got plenty of horsepower in this car, and you do see them hack it sideways quite regularly, and that was a super sector for Nick Love. But there is a whole lot of remaining racetrack to see it out here. To my eternal shame, every time we cover anything from Road America, I'm reminded that it is in fact a couple 100 feet longer than Bathurst.
They make it bigger in America, right? You know. Got those big Johnsonville brats. Got those big long racetracks. That is actually surprising, though. I wouldn't have guessed, what with it being flat and all, that'd be the case. Nick Loves takes a trip through the bend there. Misses the first apex a little bit, but getting a nice run down the straight towards Canada Corner there.
Still some reasonable sectors around here. Simon Foweather's finding some as well. Joshua Soto, who's currently on the top, is not going to improve because he's parked. There's only a handful of cars still left on track. They are Andrew Lanning, they are Simon Foweather and Nick Love, and Sean Saputra now just a little bit behind him there as well. So Nick Love, really just one more braking zone here, and then you got to get up the hill, and there are so many microsectors around here. My timing gets a little bit confused, but to try to jump up from currently 4th place, currently 2nd row, up the hill with Mustang power towards the start-finish line, end of qualifying for Nick Love and Love Racing, and a 235.2 to beat, and he does with a 234.6, but it only jumps him one position. It is a big lap around here at Road America. Sean Saputra manages just a little bit of improvement with him in the background there as well. So that is everyone from qualifying, and in a second we'll get to take a look at our grid for round 10 of the ChampCar iRacing series. It's Ford Mustangs at Road America with the bend layout.
And we'll get our overlays going here in just a minute for you.
Got Logan Sennhauser on track, actually practicing his pit entry at the moment, and everywhere we go, we have a pit stop required, at least one, and the pit entry is a place that you can gain or lose a lot of time. And here, it's sort of blind over a little crest on the pit entry, so if you haven't practiced it, you could get in trouble. You've got to practice it. This is the times after qualifying. Joshua Soto, 234.2 is the pole position from Andrew Lanning, Nick Love, Simon Foweather, John McManus, Dakota Knapp, Ian Giebler, Drake Smith, Colin Lounsbury, and Logan Sennhauser as the top 10. And then Sean Saputra improved to that 11th position late on, ahead of Davis Trask, Kyle Robertson, Mark Kruger, Charles Kowalczyk, Ben Rose, Charles Brown, Alex Harrison, David Warden, and Jason Hickman. As the top 20 other drivers with qualifying times goes John Willis, Scott Grinnell, Alan Wells, and David Palermo. Teammates Tim Wire and Bill Salen were out there earlier, but neither of them set a time. That did seem like a challenging thing to do around here, to just complete your first clean lap.
Yeah, the things looked a little bit sketchy out there well on the grid with cooler tires, and tires will definitely be a story. I'd say as we watch this race today, big fat cars with a bunch of horsepower, they'll be burning them up out there. Um, but yeah, definitely seeing the cream rise to the crop here with nearly a second between the top of our podium and the fourth place car. So a few different races to look at today, I'd say.
I need to double check you've got the analogy in order. Where does the cream rise to?
I said absolutely the wrong thing. I meant top. I said crop. It's harvest season, bud. Actually,
There's
it's long
so
past
many
harvest season.
so many expressions about cream though, and sometimes it does rule everything around you. So it's easy to get one or two of them confused. Pace car is soon to take our field on their full formation laps. Just testing out the steering's all in order there for your pole sitter, Joshua Soto. He's going to lead off the inside row for the race start. And you do just want to double check it's all connected. This is just a classic, good old car, and that's why the drivers love it. That's why we love watching it. Makes good noise, makes enough horsepower from the V8, and it's just got the classic rear end, classic gearbox. It's tough to put that 300 and some horsepower to the ground. When you get it right, you can go pretty quick in a Ford Mustang FR 500S. But while you do it, you do burn a little bit of dyno juice, and that's why everyone's going to need to make a pit stop at some point in this race. And there comes more of the strategy in this, because do you, at that point, also opt to change some tires? It's a heavy car as well that can chew through those.
Yeah, and we've seen lately in some of the other series we've been commentating that cold tires are definitely a risk too. What for how long they're going to take to get up to temp and how bad the car is going to feel while they're underneath you. We had pretty good weather for today, 84 degrees on the track, 82 in the air, and a slight wind coming in from the south. TBD if that's going to affect our drivers out there in terms of how it's going to affect the draft. Drafting always a big factor around here too, of course. So even though our top three has set pretty fast individual qualifying times, I wouldn't be surprised to see most of the top 10 hanging with our top few drivers, at least for a little bit, while things get settled down and while those draft groups are sort of forming up.
So it looks like David Palermo, who did set a qualifying time, hasn't gridded. Bill Salen, who didn't set a qualifying time, has. We'll keep an eye on how many Ford Mustangs take the start of this race, Devin.
That looks like 26-ish, and we'll have to see if they all hit. I'm not seeing Tim Wire out there, like you said. David Palermo, we'll call it 24. It's a good number, that. Lots of racing pedigree with 24 on the grid.
As a car number, as a race distance, as a TV series? Question?
I'll leave that to you.
I don't know a lot about action drama television series of the early 2000s. But they're working their way around the carousel behind the pace car at the moment. Beautiful, scenic part of the track. And that's where things start to take a little bit of a change here on this layout, is you exit from that carousel, and rather than staying left and thinking about the kink, you've got to get across to the right-hand side of the track, really woe it up for this bend, this chicane. It's tighter than you think, as demonstrated by the pace car pulling a couple of car lengths on the field as they try to work their way through there at pace car speeds.
Yeah, pace car doesn't have to worry about slowing down to make the corner, so it's got a little advantage through the bend. It just kind of flies through there. And we'll come on down to what can only be described as the finest corner on the circuit.
Some would say, some of those people who would say are Canadian, but that's fine. We love them. How many Canadians on the grid today, Devin?
The Canadian report is looking a little bit slim, if we're being honest. I'm going to tell you that there are currently 0 whole Canadians in the race today, and that's really a shame. We got to get those Canadians out here. We can make the long drive, the 30-hour drive to the nearest racetrack, and race with that Champ Car Series.
Well, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin is not too far away from where a lot of Canadians live. Not necessarily where that Canadian lives, but where some of them do. The pace car is in. Joshua Soto, he's holding them a while as we go up the hill. Great field of Mustangs under his control. 60 minutes on the clock for the Champ Car iRacing Series from Road America. In a moment, the V8s are going to roar, and they're going to roar now as the green flag waves from the second row. A good start from Simon Foweather there as well. You see an absolute chock-a-block grid of Heartland Autosport Ford Mustangs heading down towards turn number 1 as well. They've all qualified strongly. Will Andrew Lanning even take the race lead around the outside of turn number 1? Turn number 2, hardly a thing, but you go downhill towards the braking zone of turn number 3. Joshua Soto still holding the inside. Tires start super cold on this Mustang, and you got to be careful with all of that horsepower at your control, with all of that weight and body roll to shift around the field. Now heading down towards turn number 5 is who's that off the circuit and dropping back? Looks like Charles Kowalczyk.
Yeah, Charles Kowalczyk had a bit of a moment around the apex of turn number 3, as you pointed out. He's making his way clear on through the Sargento Cheese Bridge and will rejoin the front.
Just too much jandle. The field heads down through turn 5. Big pinch point, big braking zone as you head downhill. A little bit of give and take happening back there. Colin Lounsbury might have helped someone off the circuit just a little bit, but Joshua Soto leads them all back up the hill underneath the Corvette bridge. Plenty of side-by-side in the background, but Andrew Lanning, Nick Love, 3 cars steaming away out front. You can see Simon Foweather and John McManus not too far out of it behind that. Colin Lounsbury's come from 9th on the grid to be running 6th at the moment, head of that next group of cars, and it's all happening behind him as well.
Yeah, Ian Giebler was our unlucky victim of that punt coming out of the turn number 5 there, and he was really slow getting back up to pace. He was dragging, and it didn't look like he was going to get the car back to pace. It looks like he managed to find a gear though and get the thing rolling again as they head through the bend for the first time.
So a big stop for the chicane before the back straight. Maybe even pick up a slowdown running out wide there. If they change the track limits where you can get a slowdown going wide now? Question. Joshua Soto leads from Andrew Lanning. You see this here heading towards Canada Corner. And Nick Love, he really enjoyed the slipstream in qualifying not long ago. He's using it again here in the race. How about those track conditions? They're a bit warm as well, and this is a car that will go through those tires. You've got a bit of late afternoon sun on the track. It ought to cool off as we go, but it started with just a bit of temperature in it.
Yeah, like I said, 84 degrees now, rising since we did our intro, and that's not too surprising given the amount of drivers we got out here today. And as we watch the field come over the hill, we're seeing action all the way up and down the field. Our biggest losers through one lap, Ian Giebler and Charles Kowalczyk after their punts. Our biggest winner, actually, Charles C. Brown, running in 12th place, up 5 positions since the start of the race, and just been picking him off by the looks of things. No real special moves, just making his way around him.
So this would be Sean Saputra behind Kyle Robertson. Charles Brown just behind driver you were talking about. And today I sit 10th, 11th and 12th at the moment in the middle of this field of Mustangs. Still a tight 3 up front. Oh, here's a look for the move at turn 5. Biggest braking zone on the circuit. You're at high speed, and then right at the start of the braking zone, the circuit pitches downhill, which makes your car want to run on, extends the braking distance, and around the outside. Is that going to work to hold on? It sure will. Good work by Kyle Robertson. Good respect by Sean Saputra to not barrel in there too hot and clean them both out. I've seen that happen a dozen times before.
Yeah, easy to do down there, and like you said, easy to go long on your brakes, but also easy to miss your braking point, especially when you're racing in close proximity, as these guys are doing up here at the front. And as you pointed out, a couple different packs starting to form up. We're seeing our top three run away with it a little bit as Simon Foweather tries desperately to hang on to the back. Nearly a 2-second gap between him and those guys out front starting to form up. And then we've got a few more stragglers before another group of four that's being headed up by the likes of Dakota Knapp, Colin Lounsbury, Davis Trask, and Drake Smith. And that's the battle we're kind of watching right now. Things get real tight between Drake Smith and Davis Trask on the way into the bend there.
And it looked like Drake Smith hanging the tail out there is probably trying to put the power down in maybe second gear, a gear that wouldn't get a whole lot of use in these cars at some other tracks, but out of a slow corner like that, I feel like you got to use it. But my goodness, these little tires on the rear, you'll break them free easily with how the differential works, with how much weight there is and how much torque you get at almost any rev range in this car. You see them driving sideways off almost every corner.
Yeah, don't forget, this is one of the last Mustangs with a live rear axle, so all 350 of those horses going to the ground and trying to remove themselves from the ground at every opportunity. We're seeing Drake Smith finding, actually, no, just behind the action that we're watching Drake Smith drop some tires on the exit, but pretty much everyone is as we go through and see our fastest lap from the front of the field. That's a 2:34.3 from Josh Soto, so putting down those qualifying laps right away.
Having a look here, Ben Rose, and he steps the tail out. He's in too hot, gets a bit of the grass, goes nose first into the almost unprotected wall there out of the final corner. Any damage, and he's brought it to pit lane.
Yeah, he went. Do
you have identical times for first and second on the last lap?
I do.
Does HJBC.live have identical times for the first and second place drivers on the last lap? Because if you want to see live timing, go to HJBC.live. It's also linked in the YouTube chat.
It doesn't. 1/1000th of a second difference between those two. Just a rounding error at that point, but they are really flying out front and keeping things close.
Soto ran out wide. No slowdown penalty from out there, but it did cost him a little bit of time. Now he gets a little bit of the dirt, starting to feel the pressure of leading. The slipstream's pretty powerful in these things with the long straights around here. And the boxy nature of the Ford Mustang, not necessarily a massive draft vehicle, but when you get the kind of characteristics that Road America gives us, it's keeping second and third place on him, keeping the pressure on the race leader, the championship leader, Andrew Lanning. Now looking at him, Nick Love right there, and don't count out Simon Foweather. Let's realize he's probably got to be a big Penske enthusiast.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And yeah, I'd absolutely expect these four to be in contention for the rest of this race. It's impressive. It's impressive to see the quality field we're drawing out here. What was the resume you were telling me about Soto as we were sitting in the pre-production room there?
There's something on the Mazda Motorsport website. He's competing for some scholarship or something. He's been shortlisted from a rather small list of drivers, so he's in with a good chance of maybe being on the grid in the Battery Tender MX-5 Cup next season, or racing in a Mazda somewhere else, along with a couple of other drivers we know and broadcast. There is some real racing pedigree and talent here. It's not just computer gamers. We've got a whole raft of drivers that you would see on track in the ChampCar Endurance Series all around America, even here at Road America. And the guys who love sim racing, love any kind of racing they can get their hands on. Real racing talent on display.
Bit of a drama there for Colin Lounsbury in the final corner as he got a little bit of help, I think, from Drake Smith under braking. Tapped in the rear and goes out wide into the dirt as Colin Lounsbury. Charles Kowalczyk also had a little bit of a moment there, as we saw on the broadcast as well.
Yeah, he got rear-ended and significantly, and he's missing a rear bumper, but not a whole lot else. Andrew Lanning's had a drama, and now the race lead for Josh Soto is out to past 1 second. He's finally had a little bit of a reprieve. We'll see what he can do with that. Sets up a battle second, third, and fourth as Foweather now gets close enough to slipstream off second and third.
Yeah, we'll see if second and third decide to clean up their acts. And if I were in the cockpit, I'd be frantically waving my hand and making single file gestures because you don't want to let Josh Soto run away from you. He's showing throughout this season that he's got the capacity to just put these races into a bag once he gets a lead.
He's gone and left a little bit of a telltale track out through the grass there at the top of the hill, though. You saw it leave a little bit of dust in the air for the following drivers. 1.6 seconds. This might be what part of the lap from the hurry downs there around the carousel and then through the bend, where if you're just tidy, you can pull a bit at time, because the first half of the lap, you got the long pit straight, and then you go through turns 1 and 3, got the long straight down towards turn 5. Anytime you get a couple of long connected straights, it'll be tough to break away. So you're looking for a slightly technical section flowing couple of corners, and this might just be it.
Yeah, a little bit tough to put the power down sometimes. We're not seeing any of that up front. These guys are very neat and tidy through the bend. Coming through the hurry downs now, and we'll see who's the bravest on the brakes into Canada corner here.
Check that track map for a second.
Kettle bottoms, kettle bottoms. That's what I meant. I have no excuse.
Lanning went wide at the exit of Canada corner, kicked up a little bit of dust. Nick Love looks to take that second position away from him, and not being given up so easily. You love to see this in your mirror if you're race leader Joshua Soto. Round the outside, kicking the tail out, having a little bit of a slide. Here comes Simon Foweather to take them 3 wide for second place. Joshua Soto's lead out to almost 3 seconds, but they're 3 wide for second place.
Ooh. A little bit of contact there between Andrew Lanning and who's that on the outside? Nick Love on the outside, as Simon Foweather benefits from both of them battling with each other, and he's got the advantage and the inside going into turn number 1.
So Nick Love ends up back in 4th place. Round the outside, working pretty well for Andrew Lanning. Simon Foweather wanted to get a little bite of that, but Lanning looks like he holds on to that second place. It all started with the poor run that he got off Canada corner, and it results in this whole pack losing about 1.5 seconds to the leader, Joshua Soto. Lanning just manages to hold on to his spot.
Yeah, working hard out in the front, that's for sure. Battles up and down the field, though. Been kind of watching the likes of Colin Lounsbury and Sean Saputra as they're fighting for the back half of the top 10. It's been a little bit spicy back there. Lounsbury stuffed it all the way off into the dirt last time, or 2 times ago, going into the last turn. And he's only narrowly holding off the likes of Mark Kruger behind him. It's been pretty good fight and going on so far, though it's looking a little bit respectful, of course, as soon as we check in on it. They must have heard their names on the broadcast and said, okay, we're going to stop hitting each other. As you go around the corners.
Classic livery there for Colin Lounsbury. 2 blue stripes will never look bad on a Mustang. Not sure that the rest of it is quite the white and blue American racing colours, but close enough. It might have been him, though, that caused a little bit of an accident here at the bend a couple laps ago, where we saw the bumper go missing from John Willis, it might have been.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. But, you know, his car's looking great, so what's the worst that could have happened? He didn't hit it that hard.
Apparently they're making the front bumpers stronger than the rear bumpers.
That's how it goes sometimes. Opposite of the real world, of course. You always lose the the front splitter first.
I've seen a couple cars go through the grass where you'd expect to see the splitter maybe go if that was how it was happening. Lanning's getting defensive once again. This is for second place. Now almost 5 seconds behind Joshua Soto, who has bolted, sensed his opportunity. Nick Love has to look around the outside of turn 1. Line that worked pretty well for Andrew Lanning actually a lap ago, though. So with the nose just a little bit in front, Nick Love looking around the outside, just trying to keep his nose in it. It won't work, though.
Yeah, pretty good defensive driving there.
Down through turn 3 of the field go. This is the view from on board, third place, Nick Love. Good bit of... Everyone loves a Ford 2000's interior, right? But plenty of wheel work. Plenty of wheel work with the way that the power gets laid to the ground in this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, they were so gracious, iRacing, to do an art update on one of the least beautiful interiors in the service, but it is in very fine detail, that early Ford interior. Oh,
They're
what good
actually
stuff!
circles now. Those air vents used to look like octagons. That's how many, you know, poly count the interior used to be.
What a good vintage! But it just goes to show that these cars are beloved on the service, and they're even though they've got the slightly older generation of Mustang on the banner photo of the Champ Car garage, these ones really are gems. These is it S502s or whatever.
I don't keep up with all of the chassis codes and stuff for Mustangs, unfortunately. But there are people out there that do.
I'm just trying to make them yell in the comments of the videos. What we've probably
Oh,
getting
you're
it
going for
wrong.
the rage bait engagement to keep people watching the Champ Car iRacing series. Okay, that's the tactic that you're heading for. Yet more defense from landing there, but deeper in the field with the drive off of the bend. Another Love Racing car, Sean Saputra now still fencing off Colin Lounsbury at every opportunity.
Yeah, and as they're kind of having their little fight there, the two of them are also getting a pretty good view of just ahead of them, Drake Smith and Davis Trask, who seem to be going back and forth at it a little bit too.
When we looked at the championship standings, I must admit I thought, Davis Trask is in second? Question mark. But then you look at a drive like this where we're already 15 minutes into the race, lots of happening, a little bit of rubbing, a couple of cars going off track, perhaps a slowdown here or there. And Davis Trask has come from, that would be 12th on the grid to now being 7th, leading a little group here. And you're like, okay, that checks out.
Yeah, Trask. Oh, we're speaking far too complimentary of him because on the exit of turn one there, he just put a bunch of tires off. But anyway, Trask is kind of the classic driver that's just a racer. He goes out and puts a qualifying lap, and it's 2:36.9. He gets out on track, and last time by, he's running mid 2:37s, but he's doing it faster than everyone else around him. Just needs a little bit of inspiration to get himself going. Fending off the likes of Drake Smith there down into turn number 5, the two of them both going hard on the brakes as they flip through turn number 5 there.
And then back up the hill underneath the Corvette bridge. On the exit here is one of the places drivers have been digging up some of the greenery from America's National Park of Speed. Not like where those fat bears are. That's America's National Park of Greed. Oh, but they look so cuddly. Why am I not allowed to pat them? We did see Nick Love get past Andrew Lanning for second place. Now Lanning's dropped back into 4th as Foweather has also gotten past. So great qualifying performance from Andrew Lanning. Great opening couple of laps pace-wise. Consistency hasn't quite been there and might have frustrated some of those other drivers as Joshua Soto, once he was unleashed, you just see him up the road there now with an 8-second lead.
Yeah, I went back and checked on the happenings for Andrew Lanning. It looked like he got a slowdown going through turn number 5, so definitely possible to do on the exit, and he gave it back through the hurry downs. Actually, the hurry downs. And when he gave it back, Simon Foweather just quickly leapt ahead of him. So now, like you said, the order is Soto, Lanning, Love, Foweather, and Knapp, another 5 seconds behind.
Oh, missed gear shift, bit of contact. That's what's happened to Sean Saputra. He's tried to get from second to third gear, not gotten it. No drive. He's been collected by the cars behind. Take a look at this. Doesn't go into gear, and then he gets collected from behind. They were too wide behind him as well.
Yeah, where are you supposed to go if you're Colin Lounsbury and Kyle Robertson there? They're too wide coming out of Canada corner, drag racing up the hill, and all of a sudden the guy behind just bounces it off the rev limiter. And you go, oh no, I can't take any action to evade this. A couple cars on the pit lane early too. We got Andrew Lanning making an early stop from second place there, as well as teammate Dakota Knapp. And other teammate Joe McManus. We got the whole Drake Smith the Heartland Motorsport team is doing some coordinated pit action here. And it looks like of all those cars, Sean Saputra is
the only one I've seen going for tires. It looks fuel only from all four of the Heartland machines together there.
Yeah, Davis Trask coming out as well in the mix of them.
Not really any time lost from Sean Saputra with that either. So if you want to keep an eye on the pit stop times, hjbc.live for your live timing as well. So there, Saputra rejoins the race behind what looked like a team call. Dakota Knapp rolls on with his teammate John McManus now behind. Andrew Lanning, of course, got in the lane ahead of those guys and has come out of the lane ahead of them.
All is right in the world. That's working as expected. Is a surprising strategy, though. I mean, still 40 minutes to go in the race, or thereabouts, and you wouldn't think that these cars really want to go a full hour on the tires. But that Heartland team, they might have been doing some practice that suggested otherwise. And we'll see, maybe the early fuel stop gets them out of some of the battles that they were having to deal with too. They can just focus on being teammates.
Creates a little bit of extra free space around this part of the racetrack here, sort of behind third. So there's now free space between Kyle Robertson and Colin Lounsbury, a bit more space behind Lounsbury ahead of Mark Kruger and Logan Sennhauser. Have you ever said Logan Sennhauser in your life before today?
Not Logan Sennhauser, but I probably would have got there what with the Sennheiser brand existing up here in Canada.
I'm more of an Audio Technica kind of guy, and then maybe the tiebreak will have to go to Michael Derby on that one. That's just a little bit wide from, I think, Bill Salen. He is not getting lapped, but these cars have stopped and now they're coming back past him. Or was it, in fact, Alan Wells? Was probably, in fact, actually Alan Wells. A couple of the Team Salen's guys out there. And this is the kind of traffic you get put into if you decide to pit early.
Yeah, no one else felt the need to pit early, but those two are working pretty well by the looks of things. Dakota Knapp and John McManus ahead there, dragging their teammate Drake Smith along as well. Looking good with those matching liveries, must be said. I'm actually watching Charles Kowalczyk minus a bumper as he battles along with David Warden. They're too wide going amid Sargento Cheese Bridge, and you'd think that with no rear bumper that Charles Kowalczyk would have some sort of speed advantage here, but it seems to be mostly down to the draft as they head into turn number 5, and Kowalczyk maneuvers his way up the inside, nicely executed. Will he hold it on the exit? He does, and that's a position for our man Charles Kowalczyk.
Some smarter aerodynamicists than us be cutting holes in rear bumpers because they believe them to be parachutes. So I know you tell me quite what's going on with that rear bumper. It doesn't seem to be slowing him down too much. Charles Kowalczyk gets past David Ward and sets sights on Jason Hickman.
So I'm just taking a look at our timing screen, and last time by, Josh Soto ran a 2:36.1. And we're going to have shortly here our first lap from Andrew Lanning. I guess he's only about halfway done as he comes through the carousel this time. But it'll be very interesting to see if this early pit stop has made a significant difference on the kind of lap times they're able to run. Very clean through the bend, it must be said. Really hitting those apexes and running the exits nicely.
Logic tells you that if you don't change the tires and you just put more fuel in the car, it's just going to be heavier. But yeah, he has got a little bit of clean traffic, all things considered. and it's a long pit road here as well. So all of that combined does put you a little bit cleaner air than what would happen if you pitted early at some other tracks. So we will find out. But it's looking pretty reasonable for Joshua Soto at the moment, as he now has a 235.7 on the lap that we just saw him complete, and we're soon to see Andrew Lanning come up the hill to the line.
Yeah, you must have heard me talking on the broadcast and said, hey, I can run faster than that. 236 last time by. And speaking of this time by, Andrew Lanning, 237.1. I wouldn't say that strategy's working out.
Sean Saputra is the one who took tyres with that group of cars that all stopped together, and he has a 236.9.
That looks a little better, but these Mustangs are thirsty. That's a lot of fuel to be carrying on board of them. Started the race with 7.2 gallons today, and everyone there had a pretty lengthy stop. I won't spoil the exact numbers, but especially Andrew Lanning, he actually took the most fuel out of all of his teammates by 4 or 5 seconds. So that might be playing a factor as well if he's gotten that fuel number a little bit wrong.
This livery's fun. This is the livery that the current generation Ford Mustang supercar was unveiled in Down Under, with just Ford and the series title sponsor Repco.
Yeah, looks good. They should change back to these ones.
Oh, they might have to, the way it's going. So, behind Mark Kruger tuned at the moment. 6th and 7th, the question is, will it remain like that once the rest of the field have to make their stops? Relatively high fuel consumption around here, you'd say. So 7 gallons isn't going to take you super deep into the race today.
Watching a little bit of a battle here between Davis Trask in 17th and Dakota Knapp now running 16th. Trask looking feisty. He was nearly overlapping going into the bend there, but he's going to see what his run looks like here. He's definitely going to have a draft going down into Canada Corner.
They go past the DRS sign. No rear wing to open on the Ford Mustang, though. Quicker last lap, significantly. Davis Trask over Dakota Knapp. Not close enough towards Canada Corner. Okay, some different lines. Just a little casual little drift as well.
Yeah, Trask, what was it? Dakota keeps the right sides on the curb and Trask keeps the left sides on the curbs, going through the right-hander. Oh, he gets a little bit of the grass on the brakes there too. Really makes up some ground though through the apex, and
he'll have to do that next lap.
I have a feeling he'll be feeling pretty good going down to turn number 1 here.
Well, Dakota Knapp comes across to try to cover it uphill long pit straight, and Trask still closing. Have to brake relatively early. Pretty long braking distances in this car.
Ooh, and the old park it on the apex strategy is working out. Knapp's trying to hold him, but Trask's up the inside now going into 3.
Yeah, is there more grip on the racing line? Since the repave, that's certainly true. That's not what's scanned here, and they're level down the back straight here underneath the Sargento Cheese Bridge, heading towards turn 5. Davis Trask has his nose just ahead, but he's looking to go round the outside at the big stop here at turn 5.
Tough to do. They brake at the same time, and the advantage in the line goes to Dakota Knapp. A little over under here from Trask. He's going to have the inside under the Corvette bridge.
Ooh, no grip on the outside there. Can Trask complete this? Right-hand sweeper, looking to go around the outside, almost contact, and he does get around the outside, get that position. Dakota Knapp now being caught by teammate Drake Smith, who has a little bit of a look for it at the left-hander here. Trask runs out wide across the gravel, but the next corner comes up very quickly, and you can just park it on the inside like it's been done to you a time or two. Davis Trask holds on.
Trask will be sweating a little bit maybe with now 2 Heartland cars behind him, but he's got that position locked down for now. We'll have to check back in on him in a little bit. I'm actually watching, or I was watching, and then of course the battle ends. Logan Senhauser was in a pretty good battle with the likes of Mark Kruger, but Mark Kruger, you see, has just dived off into the pit lane, and so he's decided maybe, hey, I'm giving up a little bit too much time, and we're at the halfway point, so 30 minutes to go. He decides to hit the pit lane.
Sure does. Mark Kruger to the lane. Now, the box you get given on pit lane is relative to your qualifying. So Kruger, who qualified 14th, will be looking for the 14th box from pit exit. Joshua Soto will have the number 1 box right at pit exit.
Kyle Robertson and Colin Lounsbury are having a pretty good battle underneath the Sargento Cheese Bridge going down into 5. Lounsbury decides to back out of it after getting a pretty good run by the look of things. I guess he's decided fuel saving is the correct strategy at this point. Surprised with how good of a run he had out of 3 that he decided to back out of it.
You would have thought. Good run, good head of steam, and not trying to make the pass.
Yeah, a little uncharacteristic, but hey, we'll see how it pans out. It is not a bad idea to be the guy saving fuel at one of these.
Now, the fact that we're about to see a replay of Mark Kruger's pit exit doesn't inspire me with confidence that we're about to see great things.
He exits the pit lane, and nothing happens. And then goes around turn 2 and 3, and nothing happens. So as far as I can tell, Mark Kruger had a successful pit stop. Speaking of successes, Davis Trask is now up in 16th place with 3 Heartland Autosports cars behind him, and they're making it really hard on themselves. Oh, and that's one of their guys off. That's John McManus. We need to talk to this team and get them to have some identifying color stripes on there or something, because I can't tell the difference between Drake and John and Dakota, other than to say that the 3 of them are having a really good time racing with their buddies. That's another thing that you can do with the ChampCar iRacing Series, is get all those renter drivers, all those buddies that wrench on your car, get them out once in a while and have a good time on the series. And there's a little bit of bragging rights in the garage, I could say.
Most of the field pitting now. Joshua Soto from the lead has come in, followed by Nicholas Love and Simon Foweather. That was the podium positions. Here they are, all at the pit exit side. You see some tyre changing happening for the leader, Joshua Soto. You see it happening for those behind. I'm seeing it happen both sides of the car. So it's either rears or all 4. The way that they're going takes a nice drop of fuel to get you to the end of this one. Joshua Soto is out of his box after 24 seconds of service and back into the race, but not into the lead of the race, because Kyle Robertson, yet to stop, has gone 1 lap longer. And you can see there goes Alex Harrison as well, yet to stop. Hopefully listening to his crew chief a little better than he was in qualifying.
Yeah, Nick Love's actually had a little bit of a drama coming from second place. He ran it wide on the exit of pit lane. This might be worth a pit lane replay producer. He'll continue on, not a lot of damage, but he gets all 4 tires off in the dirt, and a slow exit that puts a little bit of a gap between himself and Simon Foweather.
Yeah, so only a couple of cars yet to stop. Kyle Robertson, Alex Harrison, Jason Hickman, and David Warden. After that early stop, we were wondering, where is Andrew Lanning going to be compared to the podium? And he is 5 seconds behind Nick Love, who's 3 seconds behind Simon Foweather, who's 6 seconds behind Joshua Soto. So that is a ludicrously quick stop from Simon Foweather that's caught him a little bit closer to Joshua Soto. But it is, I mean, a sanity check would say if he's the only one with a pit stop that much quicker than the rest of the field, you might worry.
Yeah, he's saving himself a lot of fuel, it must be said. He's figured something out. But we have seen, I feel like we've seen Foweather do some pretty good fuel saving in the past. I mean, 3-4 seconds is going to be a little tough, though, you got to think, right? As you said, Alex Harrison's name, it must be said, Harrison had a bit of an incident down at 5 that let full weather by. And Harrison is going to have the likes of Nicholas Love chasing him. We're actually watching, though, right now, battle between Davis Trask, Colin Lounsbury, and Drake Smith right behind. And that whole Heartland Autosports tribe is kind of running down the hill behind him.
Yeah, there they all go behind Davis Trask. He's 9th at the moment, might gain a spot or two. Looks to defend at Canada Corner. And yeah, he will. Showing Lounsbury the outside.
Yeah, not exactly how you want to have to do it, if you can help it.
They're all going to pick up a couple spots here when the last of the drivers who need to pit now, as they are doing, Kyle Robertson, Alex Harrison, and also expecting Jason Hickman and David Warden, the next two cars up the road from the battle, to need to stop as well. And they are crawling up pit entry. The pit lane speed limit starts a lot later than that, boys. You might be out of fuel. Side by side on the road, though, battle of the stripes. As they cross the stripe, it's almost neck and neck. But the inside lines, Colin Lounsbury, that's where you want to be.
Yeah, a little easier to defend from there, and they pass Kyle Robertson on the exit of the pit lane. He rejoins into the middle of the battle. Ooh, it got a little spicy back there. Dakota Knapp manages to take avoiding action, and Sean Sputra puts two wheels on the exit, on the dirt on the exit.
If the car exiting pit lane just stays on the inside, it's everyone else's responsibility to go around them with the car widths around the outside. But my goodness, this is 5th through to 11th here now that we've had those pit stops. It's just a train behind Colin Lounsbury. There's 13 seconds up the road from this to the next position, Andrew Lanning in 4th. So it's that top 4 we were watching early on in the race, and this is the rest of them. Lounsbury, Trask, Smith, McManus, Sean Saputra, Dakota Knapp, Kyle Robertson. Logan Senhauser not too far off it either.
Yeah, he's driving his way back up into it for sure. And
how about this?
Keep on battling, that'll be a challenge, yeah.
13 seconds between Andrew Lanning in 4th and Colin Lounsbury in 5th. 13 seconds from 5th place takes you all the way to 14th.
And that 14th is no easy pushover, because that's the likes of Ian Giebler, who got a little bit of problems there at the start of the race. Still down 7 spots from where he started, but definitely a quick driver himself. So wouldn't be surprised to see them all coming together. They're going, they had a little bit of a moment there. Trask off-roading. He missed his braking point, nearly took out Colin Lounsbury into the bend. And I'm guessing that he'll have we're seeing it here, Colin, luckily to avoid that bumper from Davis Trask. Trask carries on straight into the dirt, but he's given back some time here as we go through the kettle bottoms. He's given up a bunch of time and a bunch of positions too.
I think Trask was looking in his mirror at what John McManus was doing, and then they both got in there a little hot.
I think John McManus is looking at Sean Saputra in his mirrors right now, because Saputra's trying to get some overlap and run the wide line around the outside of him going into the final turn here. He might just do it. That was a good entry for him. He's going to give him a push. Well, that doesn't help you get by. Didn't have a lot of room, though. He'll have a little bit of draft, though, and a little bit of momentum going up the hill.
See them all pop to the right-hand side and almost leave. Sean Saputra hanging here. Heading down towards turn 1, beautiful sunset going on and changing lane. Kyle Robertson tries to pick the lane that he wants to be a part of, and he might have picked right, because Sean Saputra around the outside, a little bit of gravel. No, he looked so good around the outside, but then it went just a tiny bit wide. Lets John McManus back down the inside. Here at turn 3, they make a little bit of a touch on the way in. It checks up Sean Saputra, and now Dakota Knapp gets alongside him. And you can see a couple of cars starting to close in on the back here. Logan Senhauser has joined the battle. So is Mark Kruger. Ian Giebler will be next.
I love this. I love how the battles are everywhere in the Champ Car field. It's just like the real thing that way. And guys are battling all over the place. We got Trask making moves up the inside. We're 2 wide on the exit of 5 here. 3 wide nearly for a moment. Robertson's going to be defending from Trask, and they're rubbing doors up the hill.
You saw the two cars up front go deep into turn 5 now. John McManus runs deep at the top of the hill as well. Dakota Knapp goes through. Sean Saputra goes through. They're still too wide behind with Kyle Robertson and Davis Trask through a super committed right-hand kink there. Leads you back down the hill to an overtaking opportunity. Logan Senhauser needs to keep an eye on what Mark Kruger's doing. Kruger comes across and almost crowds out Ian Giebler. Fantastic. They've been racing uninterrupted for 40 minutes now. They've been through the pit lane. They've taken their fuel, maybe taken some tyres at their own discretion. And they come out and they just keep battling like this at Road America.
Yeah, these guys know how to party. This is a good time. They're nose to tail. And I love it. 40 minutes into a race and you still got a good time happening out on track.
A couple of drivers have benefited from it though. Colin Lounsbury and Drake Smith are out of here. There was a point where Lounsbury was leading the train. Now there's quite a bit of time between them in this battle, led by Dakota Knapp with Sean Saputra behind. John McManus next in the mirrors as well.
Oh, big drift there.
Trask drift. Insane off Canada corner.
Yeah, that's the most stylish way to put down the power. I don't know if that's the fastest way to do it, but you'll see him here. He gets to that apex and he stomps the loud pedal, catches it on the way out. And they're still doing that up at the front. John McManus just lit him up coming off the last corner.
We just lit up the headlights too, apparently. It's all on for the battles in position here.
Yeah, getting a little later in the evening here. Track temp's still pretty warm, but we'll see if that changes. Logan Senhauser loses spot in the back of the picture there to Mark Kruger, and they're too wide at the front, 2 by 2 going into the first turn. John McManus holding the inside from Kyle Robertson behind, and then up ahead we got Dakota Knapp and Sean Saputra who are keeping it straight between the two of them.
Trask's down the inside at 3. Makes just a tiny bit of contact with Kyle Robertson there. We've seen a couple of little taps there as you then come onto the straight here, leading you towards turn 5.
And it looks like a little bit of battling going on up the front. Sean Saputra wants to have a move here on Dakota Knapp. Knapp's really deep down, trying to stop the over-under though, and he parks it pretty well. He's going to hold off, but Saputra gets a good run up the hill. And under the Corvette bridge, he's going to have the inside and the spot by the looks of things.
Good run by Saputra. He gets up to 7th place. And there is just so much fighting going on in this group. They've all had their pit stops. It's a sprint to the end now with 18 minutes left on the clock around Road America. The size of this lap, more than 4 miles, question mark? I think so. You don't actually get that many laps into your amount of time, only probably 7 or so more to go. Different lines through the carousel. Saputra kind of taking this double apex kind of thing, sliding it on the exit and then braking into the bend.
It's important that you know, Haynes, that with the bend, the track is exactly 4 miles long. 4.000.
So you'd only have to walk it 125 times and then 125 more.
Oh boy. What am I going to do with you?
Goodness only knows. Still, inseparable racing. It's like there's a curse on whoever's leading. Oh, and he's in the wall hard. Big hit from Sean Saputra. He got out wide. He got sideways on the exit of Canada corner, and now he gets maybe another little helping hand off Mark Kruger.
I think that was all on Sean Saputra. I think the toe's been knocked out of the rear end of that thing because he turned left, and it really turned left. He's limping it down the front straightaway and up the hill, and he's going to be... He's not pitting this time, but I'm surprised. That car didn't look healthy. You'll see it here. He gets a little bit loose, a little bit of help into the wall the first time, and then bounces back out on track. And while he's trying to save it, he's going to churn into Kruger there. And they're 2 by 2 going into the first turn. This battle hasn't slowed down, even though we're looking at the replay.
Trask looks like he picks up a spot there, potentially. Kyle Robertson looking for one as well. Tucks back in line. McManus will lead this group onto the straight here. They have absolutely let Colin Lounsbury and Drake Smith waltz away, but it's been fantastic racing to watch.
Yeah, in case you were still wondering, Josh Soto has a 23-second lead over Andrew Landing in second place, and Nick Love another, what is that? Sorry, 23-second lead over, nope, 9-second lead over Simon Foweather, 15-second lead over Nick Love. And then Andrew Landing's currently running in fourth, 23 seconds behind. And we're still battling. Oh my God, shut up, Devin.
I don't even know where you look to read that kind of wrong info, but go off, King. Great battle. McManus, Trask, Nat, Robertson here. After that big hip check, Mark Kruger looks like he's back, closing up on the leaders, bringing Logan Sargent with him.
It's
Not
hard.
Too many signs of too much damage.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's suddenly driving it pretty straight, so I don't know if the tires were just dirty. Kyle Robertson's trying hard to hold the outside line, but it's not quite panning out for him. He's trying to make the outside move on Knapp. Instead, he's just going to be right up his bumper going through the bend this time.
Trask got close through the bend, tried to sacrifice some of the first part to get a good exit. Hasn't helped him be as close as he would like. Heading along towards Canada corner.
Yeah. Oh, Trask. Trask really takes that inside line. He's kind of been doing it all race, where he gets the left-hand side tires on that curb, and I'm surprised there's not a slowdown in there, just given how aggressive it looks from the overhead cam. But diving it in deep into the last turn too, he's actually put 2 tires out on the dirt, and that, it's subtle, but it really compromises your exit. And if he wants to have a run on John, he's going to need all the help he can get. John doing veteran things up the hill, going from right to left, minimizing the slope and getting close to the wall. And Trask is going to get a run, but it's not going to be enough. Behind them, though, things are still potentially a little bit spicy. A little bit more spread out than we see him over the past few laps, but that doesn't stop Dakota Knapp from taking a defensive line into turn number 1 as he tries to hold off Kyle Robertson behind in that green car.
Should be 6 more laps, as you see Ian Giebler starting to work through this pack. Helped by Kyle Robertson running off the road just a little bit. Giebler switches one side to the other, hoping to have good momentum and also the inside of turn 5. Tough to do in a pack race like this, because you can see that what would be the outside line is actually the line picking up the slipstream, probably making it a little bit tougher. Trask kicks the tail out on the brakes. Oh, and 2 of them, they all run in so deep. Both Kyle Robertson and Dakota Knapp running so long in the braking zone at turn 5.
Yeah, easy to do, and that's unfortunate for him. Loses a spot in the process. And now Kruger's putting pressure on Robertson after that mistake. Trask is looking and then dropping out of it too, as he threw the dummy on John McManus there.
Yeah, exciting. Look away and you'll miss it. Ford Mustang Racing. McManus a little wide off the exit of the carousel, trying to get on the right line for the bend, but he doesn't. He runs in wide on the entry, shallow in the second part. Trask with a good run off the corner, but we've seen him kick the tail out into drift many, many times. I'm not sure he's got a whole lot of tyre or traction left either at this point.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning that none of the Heartland Autosports guys took tires in those long stops they took early in the race. So you got to think that with only 12 minutes to go, they're really going to be feeling it at this point. Oh, and a bit of a hip check. Bit of a hip check there from our the leader of this pack. That's John McManus holding off Davis Trask. And just a little bump there brings them back, and now all of a sudden it's a battle pack of 4 for this 8th overall position, 7th position that they're fighting so hard for.
Trask would have wanted a bit more space on the outside of Canada corner, didn't quite get it, but now McManus has to lead them all. A long run down the pit straight, up the hill towards the start-finish line here. McManus has them towards the inside wall, and Trask would love the inside. He's going to bump the leader and then come back across to the racing line, look around the outside, look to go over under, see if he can do something different through turn number 1 on McManus, who holds a very tight line all the way through. He's placing the car super defensively.
Yeah, holds the inside line there and just keeps on letting the battle pack behind him catch up. Ian Giebler's at the back of this group of four here, and if he manages to pass all three, he'll have recovered all of the spots he lost at the start of this race. So he's certainly a motivated driver who definitely has the pace to be able to do it, and he's looking up the inside line here with Davis Trask. Two team cars on the outside of them, looking like one on our camera angle here, and Trask gets a little punt. Oh, and a big punt on the outside there as the teammates come together. John McManus gets a real shunt from Dakota Knapp, and he swings it out wide. I think that's got to be a slowdown out there, right?
Somehow he's just managed to avoid one, but Ian Giebler did what I'd probably do in that situation. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. You see the two Heartland guys battling with Davis Trask. You come across, try to bump Davis Trask to the lead of the group if you can, or just try to follow his lane, and it sends Davis Trask to the lead of this group. Gives a spot to Ian Giebler as a bit of friendly fire happened between Heartland Autosports. And it's 7th through to 13th in this group. Inseparable. Logan Senhauser just on the tail of it at the moment, as guys like Ian Giebler and Mark Kruger have worked their way forward in this pack just a little bit.
Yeah, Ian Giebler's battle isn't finished though here. He's third in line with these guys, and I'm sure he'd love to be first. But man, I'm just so impressed. We're under 10 minutes to go here, and these guys are battling nose to tail, showing a lot of quality driving, but also just a lot of respect between the drivers. You know, that's I'm feeling good about these guys. Let's hope that they don't ruin all that as we go into Canada Corner this time.
10 to go, check on the field. Joshua Soto leads 11 seconds from Simon Foweather, who is matching the leader's pace, but has just started to drop back of late. I wonder if we're going to see him run it super close on fuel. Nick Love's still in third, and with those guys all taking tyres, they are running about a second, almost a second and a half, 2 seconds quicker than Andrew Lanning in fourth. But Lanning in fourth has a lot of time in his back pocket to hold on to that fourth. Drake Smith and Colin Lansbury are fifth and sixth. And seventh place is where we can't look away from. They all rise up over the crest to cross the start-finish line with 4 laps to go. Trask doing what he saw others do, just leading them all to the inside line. McManus now trying to hold that inside line. Ian Giebler's the car looking around the outside. You don't really get the chance to cross back over-under on these Heartland Autosports guys. They block the inside on the exit. They're going to block the inside heading down towards turn 3 as well. Massive drift. Huge drift from McManus. Power sliding out of turn 3. Giebler was a little tidier. Is that going to let him be a little quicker? But McManus can just sit in line of the draft at Davis Trask, and that's what makes a DRS train, a slipstream like this, so tough.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to get the advantage. Wow, Dakota Knapp is so deep on the brakes every time. That explains maybe why he gave John McManus that shunt a lap ago. But he manages to get it to the apex and through it, despite the late braking point. Always different styles out there, you know. You can gain time under braking, you can gain time on the throttle. Sometimes you can gain it rolling through the apex, but Dakota's definitely a late braker.
Whoa.
Charging it in there.
Late from Knapp. Giebler runs wide off the corner. Now we're side by side as Kyle Robertson's trying to go around the outside of the carousel. That's a difficult ride, but if you can pull it off, it actually will give you the inside for the bend chicane on this layout here. So that's a tough position to be in, but I definitely want to be the car on the inside here, which is where Kyle Robertson is, and he makes it work.
Very nicely done by him. Ooh. And then spins him up on the exit, but hey, it worked. And like you said, really tough to hold it on the outside in that dirty stuff, but he does a good job of it and holds on to the position. Trask is now maybe having to look in his mirrors a little bit as he's got John McManus approaching into Canada Corner. And McManus takes the Trask line. He gets his 2 tires on the inside on the dirt there.
Now to the final corner. Leaders cross the line, 3 laps to go. So you got to hold on to this one for a while still yet if you're Davis Trask. Helped by John McManus running a little bit wide, not immediately coming across into the slipstream from Davis Trask. So Giebler gets a good run. What do you do now if you're Davis Trask? Do you change across to the other line? Now you see them side by side battling behind. Giebler is going to have his work cut out for him to go around the outside of turn number 1 here, just slightly ahead of John McManus, and he swoops across and up into 8th place. Looks like Mark Kruger might have taken a spot back there. There's a couple of battles happening into turn 1. It's Logan Senhauser starting to drop back a tiny bit.
Yeah, Kruger had a pretty good run there, and Logan is struggling a little bit to keep up at this point, I'd say. Nearly, what's that, a second, 1.3 seconds? But if the guys ahead start battling...
Here's a good run back from John McManus down into turn 5 on the inside of Ian Giebler, trying to take the spot back. Davis Trask runs wide, not under so much pressure, but he just runs it in too deep, costs himself a little bit of time. Ooh, and McManus came across back onto the racing line, almost across Ian Giebler's nose there. A bit of a squeeze underneath the bridge. Kyle Robertson's run wide underneath the bridge. Now it's Dakota Knapp having a look at him. Mark Kruger also lining them up as well. Oh, into the bumper. Sends Davis Trask out through the outfield. He has a massive snap, and he almost hits the wall, just keeps out of it, but loses a big chunk of spots.
Yeah, he's quick for getting back on the track here, but with only 2 laps to go, he's going to have to do a lot of work to regain some of those positions. He's got 5 cars between himself and where he just was on track. Big punt there from John McManus. Ahead of them, Drake Smith's managed to find his way around Colin Lounsbury. The two of them have been going back and forth for a little while. Lounsbury now following that Heartland Autosport car. We'll see if the Stripes have anything to say with 2 laps to go about how this race is going to end.
Back now with John McManus, Ian Giebler. Kyle Robertson's had a wobbly moment off Canada corner. Davis Trask has just managed to rejoin with this pack, which is pretty critical for him. 2 laps to go. Joshua Soto on the penultimate lap, leading now 13 seconds ahead of Foweather. Started dropping a tiny bit of pace on the last couple of laps, but still with 4 seconds in hand over Nick Love in 3rd. And Andrew Lanning runs 4th. Pit stop times all over the place. 24 seconds of fuel for Joshua Soto, 18 for Simon Foweather, 22 for Nick Love, and 27 for Andrew Lanning. And then his teammate Drake Smith here in 5th, still just sitting ahead of Colin Lounsbury.
It's worth saying that Simon Foweather is doing some lift and coast. He's run a 2:37 last time by, which is almost a full second slower than Nick Love behind. So it's definitely not getting all of it out of the car with 2 to go. 1.5 at this point. And Lounsbury's right on the bumper of Drake Smith, catching dirt from that car ahead as they go under the Corvette bridge for the second to last time.
Just behind that, Ian Giebler gets down the inside of John McManus for 7th. McManus is going to try to cross back at the top of the hill. Giebler leaves just enough space. Super optimistic move to try to show the Mustang nose there. Giebler comes back across. He is now in 7th.
Yeah, they're 2 by 2 by 2 through this battle pack. I guess 2 by 2 by 3 if you look at the last little group there. Trask trying to find his way around Mark Kruger.
Isn't that a soccer formation? 2-2-3, and Trask sneaks his way down the inside of Mark Kruger, not without a little bit of contact. So that seems to be the contact corner now.
Ian Giebler had a bit of an ugly entry into the carousel that time and nearly gave John McManus a run, but was able to hold him off through the carousel. Nicely done through there, but he's going to have to do... He's going to need some help if he's going to get up to the likes of Lounsbury and Drake, who are battling for the back half of the top 5. Drake, second to last time through Canada corner, holding off Lounsbury, but Lounsbury was really close on him, maybe timing the run for the final lap.
And it is the last lap for race leader Joshua Soto. He's coming through turn 3 for the last time in this race. Now 15 seconds clear of Simon Foweather, whose pace is starting to fade. Question marks over whether he took enough fuel in the second place car. He's still got 3 seconds over Nick Love if he just needs to coast it around a couple places. but Love will know that he's closing. Once you get within 1 second, it is a big slipstream in these boxy Mustangs. And Andrew Lanning's another 18 seconds behind in fourth. So the battle is on. That white flag lets them know to leave it all on the track now on the final lap. Drake Smith leads Colin Lounsbury in the battle for fifth and sixth. And Heartland Autosport cars are all tangled up in battle because behind John McManus is slipstreaming off Ian Giebler. And then Kyle Robertson is ahead of Dakota Knapp. Davis Trask's worked his way back past a couple of cars here. Logan Sennhauser ahead of Mark Kruger on the final lap.
Ooh, and Simon is just doing such big lifts and coasts. Nick Love is getting right up on the bumper. He's almost within a second. And I got to think that Simon's going to have a really hard time holding him off. Another big lift. Misses the apex a bit too that time. Into speed, though, under the brought sign, into the carousel.
And don't give up on this if you're Nick Love, because there's still a chance. You'll see, after the pit stops, we were doing the same lap times, but all of a sudden, Simon Fower's starting to come back towards me on this final lap. Okay, so Nick Love will keep the pursuit on all the way to the checkered flag. It's not too far away, and we still don't know how any of them are going to cross it inside of this top 10. Nick Love now only 1.2 seconds behind Simon Foweather. Joshua Soto's lead that was so stagnant, so static at 10 seconds, now out to 17 as Foweather and Nick Love fall behind. First half of the race, he couldn't shake them. But now Joshua Soto leads almost 18 seconds out of the final corner. He's celebrating early. That looked deliberate to me. That looked a little deliberate to me. He's going to have a little bit of a weave back and forth as well as he comes from the final corner to the checkered flag to extend his championship lead in the ChampCar iRacing Series. Joshua Soto wins at Road America. Behind him, Foweather needs enough fuel to get up there. Nick Love, he's off.
Oh man, he gets it all sorts of wrong out of the final corner, and he might have had a chance because I'm hearing sputters.
Simon Foweather's car might be spluttering, but Nick Love choked at the final corner. Andrew Lanning has got fourth place ahead of Colin Lounsbury, who looks like he's dropped back a massive amount. And yeah, Colin Lounsbury's actually broken away from Drake Smith. Ian Giebler's broken away from John McManus. And Dakota Knapp looking like he's holding off Kyle Robertson. Davis Trask still leading Logan Sennhauser and Mark Kruger.
Yeah, there'll be no happy feelings on the back half of the top five. Lounsbury makes a little tap on Drake Smith, pushes him out wide in Canada corner. That's not very Canadian to you, unless you said sorry on the microphone, I guess. Either way, Lounsbury is going to take it to the line and hold off Drake Smith. Ian Giebler crosses under seventh place, driving back from that early instant to match his qualifying position. John McManus, Dakota Knapp, Kyle Robertson, Davis Trask, Logan Sennhauser, Mark Kruger crossing the line. And Charlie Brown coming up the hill. Woo! It's a demolition derby in turn one, too. What a way to celebrate.
Sure is. Last cars on the lead lap. Charles Brown, Alex Harrison, Jason Hickman, David Warden. John Willis just went a lap down. So results in Joshua Soto, commanding win as it transpired. And Simon Foweather, what a gift he was given at the final corner. Starting to run out of fuel, coughing and spluttering to the line. The only driver who could have taken second place away from him, though, just got too eager with the track limits and with the throttle out the final corner. Nick Love, though, managed to keep out of the wall, even though he lost quite a lot of time, and he did get third place. Then Andrew Lanning, Colin Lounsbury, Drake Smith, Ian Giebler, John McManus, Dakota Knapp, Kyle Robertson, the top 10. Then Davis Trask, Logan Sennhauser, Mark Kruger, Charles Brown, Alex Harrison, Jason Hickman, David Warden, John Willis, Alan Wells, Sean Saputra parked it with 7 laps to go. So did Charles Kowalczyk. And then retirements, Bill Salen, Scott Grinnell, and Ben Rose. Didn't see David Palermo or Tim Wyatt take the start. What a battle in the middle of the field with the Mustangs.
Yeah, spoiled absolutely by the show they put on for us today, and really shows how much fun it is to be out here in the ChampCar iRacing Series. Virtual cars, real racing. real prizes. And happy to see our drivers getting one step closer to that big prize coming at the end of the season. $1,500 in champ bucks going to the winner of our overall season here. And I think that we're going to get an interview with him shortly.
Yeah, we've got most of our podium standing by at the moment, and I'm going to go to third place, Nick Love, because he joins us now. You had a real opportunity there at the final corner. Simon Foweather's car coughed and spluttered before the line, and you couldn't be there to take it.
Yeah, I was only like 3 seconds behind him after the pit stop kerfuffle, and I put a tire off, lost a couple seconds, and if I hadn't done that, I would have been right there. So it was fun chasing him down that final stint, though.
Yeah, and a lot of good racing through the pack as well in the Ford Mustang. How'd you find this car for Road America?
Oh, I think it's a blast. The draft's not too strong, and you got enough power to make it kind of tough in the slower corners. So it's a real driver's car. Still got the manual, which I love. Just a lot of fun, really. I mean, I've enjoyed it. My biggest struggle here was my crew chief decided not to auto fuel, and I took about 3 gallons too much. So that was my struggle today.
A lot of variance to those pit stop times, and when drivers opted to pit as well. Moderately wide strategy window, though it didn't look all that different between the top 3, except for how much fuel you ended up taking.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Simon took tires or not. I was hoping he didn't, but I think he did. He just had less fuel. But yeah, I was hoping to come out in front of him, and I just couldn't click the button fast enough.
Well, third place, congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Second place on the grid has shown up, and that's Simon Foweather, who's finished second place for us today. Simon, it looked like you're the fastest one out of the pit lane today, but it seemed to be a bit of a drama for you too. Simon, you there? We've got him muted on the microphone.
That might be because he needs to set a push to talk for this channel.
There he is.
Okay. All right.
So Simon, it looks sure enough.
Yeah, I think we basically had the same pace. So I saved a little bit of fuel, just tagging behind Nick, and cut it really close on the fuel. Had to fuel save the last couple of laps, and got down to about 0.2 of a gallon right at the end there. So it was really close to running out of fuel, but just about made it.
Looks like, or sounds like you're a real Marlboro man over there.
What's that now?
Sounds like you're a real Marlboro man. You got the deep voice and stuff. Good choice of livery today.
Yeah. I used to smoke that stuff too a long time ago. It's been a while, but actually tasted pretty good. I liked it.
Well, cool to see it on the car. Good show for you out there today. Anyone you need to thank for your race?
Just thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers.
Next race.
See you.
5.
See you at Spec 5, buddy.
All right, see you.
Yeah, there we go. He's doing our job for us. Apparently we're selling cigarettes now, Devon, but he's selling the broadcasts that you can watch on HJBC, both ChampCar iRacing Series and the Spec 5 World Tour. But the man of the moment, extending the championship lead, staying cool under pressure, nailing the pit stop, and blowing away from them in the final stint, Joshua Soto, another win. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it was oh yeah.
No, go on.
It was it was a really interesting race. The Mustangs are a pretty challenging car to try to drive around this track, especially with the bend.
Yeah, it's not anyone's favorite layout to my knowledge, but it is real to the ChampCar Endurance Series, and we want to have some of that, and it just throws up something a little different.
Oh yeah. I think it works. I think it works really well with these cars, especially going into Canada Corner. Yeah, it kind of works with like the braking workers that you have on the left. But yeah, I think it works with these cars.
Now, Josh, you just won a race in a Ford Mustang, but share with the people the news. You go all right in a Mazda as well.
Oh yeah. Wait. What was the question? Sorry. Sorry about that.
Okay, never mind then. So fuel strategy, we saw you and almost everyone up front take tires, but a variance in how much fuel to take. What caused that? Just uncertainty about what the fuel burn is in clean air versus the in traffic, uncertainty about how many laps the race would be. What do you think causes it?
I think with the tires, I was a little bit skeptical about trying to take tires because I know the new update with some cars it could be it could take a little bit of time to get the tires up to temp. So I was really leaning on not taking the tires, but coming towards the end of the my first stint going into the pit, the Mustang started to kick out like a lot more than I expected it to. Like I started dropping down to like 2 seconds or so, and the car was getting very it started oversteering a lot. So I was just like, yeah, it's probably best to just go ahead and take tires. And I ended up taking a little bit more fuel than I wanted to. But it all kind of worked out. And we were able to get back up to pace and start hitting the 234s again.
Well, you extend your championship lead in perfect fashion. There's only 2 rounds left to go. Congratulations once again, Josh.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. And also I want to thank ChampCar and Tire Rack for sponsoring this series. And yeah, I appreciate you guys HJBC for doing the podcast.
All right, see you around.
Thank you.
So our podium after a very, very exciting ChampCar iRacing Series Round 10 from Road America, have to say, I'm not sure that the 3 drivers we just spoke to had the most exciting race compared to what happened behind them, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's quality racing up and down the grid, no matter when you come and join us. And hopefully you will come and join us at our next race, November 4th. That's a Saturday because it's a 4-hour race in the in the Miata at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, our final enduro round. And we'll be back with the Sprint Series on November 22nd at VIR with the TCR. So it should be a good couple races here as we bring us to our season finale at Sebring.
Yep, forum.champcar.org with the schedule, with all the information, all the links you need to sign up. You can also join the Discord for the ChampCar iRacing series, join the community there and chat with some of the other racers. And what a great little race we've had. I'm seeing plenty of chat going back and forth between all those guys in that battle around the top 10, sort of from Mark Kruger up to Ian Giebler. What a battle they had in the final half of the race. Electric stuff, but not Mac E in the Ford Mustang. We'll see you for the next race in the ChampCar iRacing series. Get your teammates together, race with some great racing, race for some really valuable prizes as well. We'll see you for the next one. Thanks for joining us from Road America.